Let's talk more about the Sumud Flotilla now and its journey. Bring in one of the people on board one of those boats, award-winning author and South African Zukiswa Wanner. Good to have you on the program, Zukiswa. You're joining us by phone because you are in the middle of the ocean and connectivity comes and goes. But how far are you from Gaza at the moment, and how safe is the flotilla?
We are 48 hours away, and we really leave our safety in the hands of governments and the world. But we're 48 hours away. 24 hours from where we are is where the last two boats, the last two flotillas got intercepted by the Israeli occupying forces. But they were smaller in numbers, and so we're hoping that in this particular situation, because we have a much bigger number, we'll be able to at least have some boats go through into Gaza.
How do you imagine you'll be able to do that, Zukiswa, when you consider that? I was looking at words from a Director General in the Foreign Ministry in Israel who said that yours is not a humanitarian mission but a provocation. So for all intents and purposes, the Israelis are very much determined to prevent you entry into Gaza.
Well, firstly, I don't think Israel has any moral high ground to say whether something is humanitarian or is not. We have been following up all the time, and we've been watching people being killed, people being starved. Even today, as we speak, Al Shifa Hospital, which, by the way, we all remember from the days when they had a whole calendar and they say that this was the names of terrorists. Al Shifa Hospital is bombed today. Gaza City is in ruins. Every day, every morning we wake up to more people being killed. So they haven't actually managed to bring in any food to people in Gaza, and we've seen people starving on our televisions and on our screens. So it is a humanitarian reason, and they don't have, by humanitarian law, by international law, they actually also don't have a right to the sea. The sea belongs to the Palestinians.
And as you're speaking to us, you said earlier that you're about 48 hours away from Gaza. In 24 hours, you will have reached the point where a previous flotilla was intercepted by Israeli forces. How forceful do you think then that Israel is going to be should they try to turn you back this time round, given that yours is a larger number of boats?
Listen, we are a peaceful delegation. Everybody here, we're more than 500 people. We certainly, all of us have been trained in nonviolence, and we are certainly not going to give any violence towards them. So any violence that comes will purely be coming from the terrorists that we've known them to be. It's certainly not going to be coming from us. And we can only, I don't know how they're going to be able to take all the many boats that we have and all the many people that are on this mission and process them. But let's see.
And I know you are on but one of the boats. I wonder how much communication you have with the rest of the people who are traveling towards Gaza with you this evening, because I'm wanting to understand, for instance, Zukiswa, if you're more determined or increasingly anxious as you approach because of the unknown.
We are determined, but we're also obviously anxious. We are in touch with everybody on the other boats. We also have cameras on our own boats, and the reason we have that is that if we are intercepted by Israel, we will then be able to, there will be footage to show the world that this is what they have done, just as there has been footage to show what they have done in Gaza all the time. So we're actually not, we're in constant communication, and if any of the boats have a problem, we generally get to know. It brings nothing to be
And how
outside.
reassuring, Zukiswa, has it been that the Greeks, for example, the Coast Guard has now been shadowing the flotilla. Italy and Spain have also sent naval ships to monitor as you make this journey. Do you find that reassuring? And if they are monitoring, what does that entail on a very practical level? Are you communicating, for instance, with the Italians, the Greeks, and the Spaniards?
I think it's very inspirational. I understand Turkey has also come on board, but it's very inspirational. It shows that we actually have the power to push people, to push government into acting, because the reason why Italy has come on board, for instance, is because the people in Italy, civil society in Italy, down tools on Monday. And they said that last Monday, and they said that they weren't going to do any work. And the government was put in a place where they needed to do something. So they did send two naval ships. And Spain has done the same. But it needs to be said that the naval ships that are sent up purely for defensive purposes, they're not likely to go into fights with the Israeli occupation forces. And we actually don't believe in violence. So we are quite happy, that will not happen. But we know that that means that there will be, we are hoping that this means Israel is a little bit restrained in the violence that they perpetuate, because we have this protection.
And we're getting
Insofar
some
as
news.
both Spain and Italy are allies of theirs and members of NATO.
Right, and we're getting some news, Zukiswa, in the last 30 minutes or so, that there is some optimism as the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu meets with Donald Trump, the US President, in Washington tonight. The words very close are being used in reference to a ceasefire. Are you hopeful that this time it will finally happen, and not just happen, but hold?
My brother, to not have hope is to die. To live is to hope. And so we're hopeful constantly of everything. But just as we're hopeful of a ceasefire, we're also equally hopeful that justice will be served against everybody who's perpetrated this genocide against the people of Palestine.
Zukiswa Wanner, good to talk to you, author and member of the South African delegate, if you will, on the flotilla to Gaza. They are trying to break the Israeli siege on the Palestinian enclave. There have been, by the way, previous missions in that direction that have attempted a similar journey. To give you an example of one or two, I'm looking here at something that happened in 2010. There was a similar flotilla at the time in 2010 when they tried to break the siege. In May of 2010, Israeli forces stopped at the time 6 civilian boats of the Gaza Freedom Flotilla. The ensuing fighting killed about 10 activists and wounded dozens. As recently as this year, a total of 3 flotillas in June were intercepted as well by the Israelis. The climate activist Greta Thunberg, who's part of this trip as well, was among those who were deported to their home countries after interception by Israel.